What is going on, crypto broskies and crypto broskiettes? I want to say, I'm not even sure what the word would be here, but good morning to everybody. We're gonna break this market down. There's some interesting stuff that's been developing. It doesn't seem like it feels to me like we're on the cusp of an explosive sort of breakout. It also feels like we might have one final dip before an explosive move. Um, I can see on the charts all of the information that looks like we could go out of our minds, but something really interesting just happened in the last few hours that could cause a temporary dump in the market. We're going to break all of this down and more. And not only that, but you look, you never know. You never know what's going to happen in this market. One day you're way up, the next day Believes is using AI to make new intro videos, and then you have new songs. And oh yeah, by the way, new intro, new song, who dis?
I can read a chart like a Superman, and I've got a show that has a lot of fans. I'm streaming every day and almost every night. I bought some Bitcoin cause I'm always right. You might wonder who I am, but don't forget that I'm the man. They call me please, I'll do any charge you want me to. They call me please, I'll break a crypto wallet down for you, for you. Channel streaming live at night, and I'm the only YouTube streamer who's always right. Every morning I go live and say to all you guys, don't fall for all these other people and their lies. You might wonder who I am, but don't forget that I'm the man. They call me please, I'll do any charge you.
Hey, McFly, why don't you hit the like button? What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Hit the like button. All right, guys, let's kick it off. There's a lot going on. I hope you like the new song. This is, look, I've got a bunch of them, right? I use AI. Do I spend my time wisely? I do not. So we got plenty of different songs available, and let's kick it off. Let's get into what the big news of the day. First of all, the judge has approved the FTX bankruptcy. And really, what that indicates is that there's billions of dollars about to enter this marketplace. Now, from one perspective, if you want to make the argument, and it's a fair argument for you to try to make, you might be a little concerned about it because all of that money is coming from liquidated assets and stuff like that. Oh, nay, nay. I believe they say. Judge John Dorsey of the U.S. Bankruptcy Court of the District of Delaware has approved the FTX bankruptcy plan. This approval is a positive news for members of the community whose funds got locked on the exchange. Considering the events of the past few weeks, many showed confidence that the FTX bankruptcy plan will be approved by the court. With this approval, a total of $6.6 billion will now be distributed to FTX creditors, as confirmed in a creditors' voting last week. The timeline for this distribution is slated to span 4 to 8 weeks from now. This voting plan scored massive support, or 94% from the creditors. Here's what's happening. Everybody's getting their money back plus interest. So was FTX collapsing because it didn't have any money exactly? No. In fact, they had plenty of money. However, the plan did not fly without opposition, as entities like Sunil Kavuri, the FTX creditor representative, opposed the plan. His major concern hinges on the modalities of the payment in the plan. While Kavuri preferred crypto equivalent, the exchange had secured approval for a dollar payout. So with Judge John Dorsey ratifying the plan, 98% of FTX creditors will get back 118% of their funds in fiat. The total payout may stretch to $16 billion per the plan. The judge highlighted in a statement that the FTX bankruptcy plan marked one of the most complex in related Chapter 11 proceedings. Now, here's the great part. Let's go back and let's take a quick look at when the collapse happened, right? Let's go back and let's see where were we and what was it that happened right there? And that was this little nugget right here. Now, we got to get into the woods just a little bit. This is where it happened, and you just have to consider how much capital was in the market at this moment, because what we witnessed was something's going on with FTX, something's going on with FTX, and then boom, 30% dump. So 30% of available capital with a $21,000 market cap down to a $15,000 market cap. Basically, you're witnessing a 25% capitulation based on that amount of money being removed from the market for that short period of time. And then we had this sideways action at 16,000, and then that's when the move began to kick off. What we'll look back at this and we'll say, well, this is the bull run. This is this is the move. This is the play. By the way, let me zoom out here, and if you guys want to go down memory lane one time, this was what I told you guys was going to happen, right? And look at this. We are still on that same trajectory. God, I love being always right. But we're still on that same trajectory out here a year later. So over a year later, year and a half at this point, I guess. So now the question is, what does that look like more broadly when we get to this area right here? Well, let's consider a 25% lift back then, probably in the billions, only about a 15% lift right here. So what would a 15% lift look like in case that money were to come back into the market? Well, it's not that hard. You just kind of from where we are at the moment to let's take it up about 15%. Where is that? Right where our target is, right at the all-time high for another retest of that all-time high. It doesn't get any better than that right there. That's what it looks like. So what I would suspect to see happen over the next month is another test of the all-time high and then a breakout above that all-time high. That's what looks like is happening right now. So if I were you, I would get real excited, because there is certainly some opportunity for something magical to start happening right about now. So pack those bags, if you will, and cross your fingers, because it's going to get interesting. Now, that is pure speculation. I've also said, and I continue to say, that I think that there's some downside here. So we could be looking at a little bit more downside before that happens. The market was up a few short hours ago. When we look at the 1 hour chart, you can see right here through last night, we were up quite a bit on the day. Now we're taking a quote unquote bath, if you will. Let me get over here to the 3 hour chart. Sorry about that. Last night ish, we were at 2.15 down to 2.132. So we'll see how this day goes. Up 13 billion on the day. Sorry, by the way, I should have said that. Led off with it. We're up 13 billion on the day. So let's get back into it. FTX, once that money starts to hit, we're looking at a nice big run on cryptocurrency, pushing us up into some much higher levels. And that's going to be exactly what everybody's looking for. And by the way, most of the people wanted to get their money back just because they want to be made whole. That 18% or whatever the amount is, whatever they're struggling with, I think they're beyond that. I think they've probably gone back in, and now they're just looking at an absolute windfall to catch the bottom before Bitcoin erupts. So just consider that. I think that money starts to really flood back into the market. So if you haven't already, you got 4 to 8 weeks, and that's going to be it. Now, when this happens, when we start to get this out, when we start to get this boom, and we will get a boom, Bitcoin will start to soar. We get to 72, 73,000, then you're going to see a lot of profit taking. That's going to be that new all-time high, or going to be right at that new all-time high, that secondary test, and then maybe we get that explosive breakout. And if we do that, expect to see a lot of sell pressure. And then the question would be, what will the sell pressure lead to? Well, this is a small list. This is not my list. This is a small list of outperforming. These are all of the different things that are outperforming Bitcoin right now. So if we dip and if we have some downside momentum for any period of time, then consider the cryptos that you want to pick up are going to be these right here, because the likelihood is those rallies would continue. So you're looking at Tau, Near, Ondo, and FET in the AI realm. And by the way, AI was breaking out a couple of days ago as the market was starting to rally. So I would suspect that in the event that the market starts to rally, and by the way, the fear and greed index did go down today from yesterday, as expected, but not a lot. And with that being the case, AI will probably pick back up. So I would be looking at Tau, Near, Ondo, FET. I would be looking at FET and Ondo mostly. Near and Tau might still continue to move, but I would suspect that Ondo and FET are going to be the ones with the biggest probable gains. Then in meme coins, you had Pepe having a nice big rally. Dog with Hat had a significant rally. Popcat had a significant rally. Myro had a little bit of a rally as well, along with Dog with Hat. Some of the Solana ecosystem was having a nice rally. Solana even rallied, I think, to 152 before coming back down to 144 right now. Saitama on Solana was up, I want to say 80% over the last couple of days. Then you have RWAs, you have OM and Pendle. And then your layer ones, you have SEI, you have SWE, you have Aptos, and you have Injective. And then for multi-chain, you had hashtag W. So there are some cryptos that you might want to look at as breakout candidates while Bitcoin kind of ranges sideways and immediately after Bitcoin has a nice little run or over the next couple of days, because there's also USA data coming out, because we're about to get our our new numbers here. We're going to get FOMC minutes on Thursday or Wednesday, tomorrow. Then on Thursday, we're going to get the inflation year over year. We'll get our inflation numbers. We'll know what's going on there. And then we're going to get the PPI month after month, a month over month on, I think it's Thursday. And then Friday, we'll get that Michigan number. Nobody cares about that really. But these are the cryptos that you're going to want to be in. If you see an opportunity to catch a dip, then these are the ones most likely that will rally first. Also, the altcoin index was pumping almost about halfway through to around 50. And then what did we get? We got a breakdown over the last couple of days. For example, if you were to look at the market right now, then you'll see that we're up $11 billion in total on the day, meaning that Bitcoin and Ethereum is probably rallying. When you take Bitcoin out, we're still up just a little bit on the day. But when you take Bitcoin and Ethereum out, then you're seeing the total three saying that the altcoins are starting to bleed. And when you go down your list here, you'll see Luna Classic down 2.5%, USTC down 8%, MSI down 15%, Pepe down 2%, Dog with Hat down 2%, Aave down 2%, Arrow down 2%, Aptos still up 4 today. You've got ASM down 9% on the day. And as you go down here, you'll find Conflux down 8%. You'll see that there is a rotation here. This one is Stride down 5% on the day. So, there's some pockets here where you're seeing a lot of bleeding and a lot of negativity in that market. And it could very well just be that we are preparing for that Bitcoin run. Maybe, just maybe. Now, what I would think is, and by the way, this pattern that you've seen kind of develop here, I want to point out how intrigued I am with this. Now, this is what happened. We had the breakout above this trend line. We had a back test of the trend line, and then we had a bounce, and then we're having a back test right now at that 786 sort of line, that quote unquote golden ratio, if you will. This is probably going to be more down the 786. Yeah, it's going to be bouncing in that 786 range right there. But here's the good sign. If you were to go back and you were to look at this and you were to see these back tests happening all of the time, then what happens then? You get an explosive move off of this. Like this literally looks like we're about to explode. And if you don't do this, and if you don't look at these charts all the time, you might not see it. But if I go to total one, you can probably kind of zoom out here and look at some of the more recent trends, and you can see that plays out. Now, it's not playing out for the total yet, but it is playing out for, let's say, for example, Luna Classic. If we were to look at Luna Classic, then you see right here, it broke out and did the same thing. right here. Let's do it on the daily because it's a little easier to look at. But if you look at what we had here, was he had this descending channel here, this green line sort of right here from this top over here. And then we had a breakout, then we had a retest, and that retest took place right there. And then we had the bounce, and then we had that come down again because it's a fib retracement, and then that's where you get your breakout from, right? So what we're looking at right now is a potential for that breakout. Now, what happened the last time Luna Classic did that? Well, that last time that it happened was right here. And let me show you what it looked like. You take this line right here, and this was the trend line right there. You can see it. Now, what happens after we break out of that trend line? After we break out of that trend line, what do we get? We get the bounce out, then we get the back test right here, then we get the consolidation, and then we get an explosive move. That's what's happening over here the same way. You can see that. Now, if you look at it from a pattern perspective, then you see that we had the breakout, we had the back test, we had the sideways action, we had the little test pump right here happening right there. Then we had this consolidation as it comes back down, which is what's happening right here. And then we had this explosive move, which took us all the way up to the 3028 range. Well, we're currently sitting over here at 3086. So we're talking about a 3x move that could be in tap for Luna Classic in a very short order. It would look something like that. And by the way, it's beyond time to test this top again. And you can see right here, this thing is kind of ranged for a long period of time. So I would expect that we're probably going to have a big breakout of Luna Classic. And this is not the only chart. There's a lot of charts that look like this right now that would have those kind of breakout moments. In fact, you're about to see the same thing happen. You have not seen it, but you're about to see the same thing happen on XRP. I think we're going to break out above here into that 67, 70 cent range, have a back test, and then boom, we're on to an explosive move. And by the way, when I look at the previous history, and this is just, I just drew this up from the previous exponential move, and it tells me that we're going over 20 towards that $25 number that I gave you before. So, all of these things are starting to show that something could happen. So just be watching for some signals of a breakout coming up fairly soon. And when that happens, altcoins start to pop. Fear and greed right now sitting at 49, meaning that yesterday, you can see on the right, it was at 50. Day before that, it was at 50. Day before that, it was at 49. So it looks like we might have topped out at 50 at this point. So we're going to need, of course, more data to figure out. And if we don't, then I would expect a reversal back down into the 30s very rapidly, as we're not able to support where we are right now. Okay. Now, at this point, the question is one of, are the market makers making and breaking the market, or is retail asserting some level of control and holding the price at certain levels and making it more difficult? Now, that is the question that has to be answered on the day before we can have any sort of clarity. So when you look, and I'm going to hit refresh here before I show it to you. But if you look at the chart, then the chart is telling me that we're coming down to 61,008 for a liquidity grab, because it looks like there's nothing here. If you look where I'm kind of moving my mouse around here, there's nothing in this range right here that is a pull on liquidity. So if we're coming down for a purpose, and that purpose is all of this that's available right here. Now, when we break it down to a 1 week chart, do we still see the same? And this is where we glow up a little bit, if you will. You have 61.8K, but down here is where the big money is, and that's at the 59,000 level. And the question is, how far down, if we dip, would we go? And it is possible, by the way, that we stop right here at 61,200, 61,000. The support for Bitcoin between 60 and 61,000 has been very, very big at this point. And if that's where most of the resistance is coming into play, and that's where it's holding the best right now, then it is possible that no dump is going to take us down below it. So just if you're doing any kind of leverage trading or anything like that, just manage yourself accordingly. There's a possibility of a breakdown, but it's also a very strong market, and 60,000 has been good resistance. Now, in the event that 60,000 does break, then a move down to 57 is the most likely next scenario. And if that's the case, then boom, we come down into this range, maybe wick down into this 56 sort of zone here. But then it would be time for a reversal, because when we zoom out, ultimately, this is what we see. All of the big capital, we're not going to 40,000, by the way. You see down here, there's 40,000 in this range, and there's 25 billion in liquidation leverage sitting at 34,100 right now. We're not going to that level. So most likely we're going back up into this level right here at 66, 67, 68. And then after that is when we start to get into the breakout. And that's when we start looking at these numbers up here in the 70,000s range. And that's when you start to see that banana zone. That's when you start to see all of these. By the way, when all of these get wrecked, when the shorts get wrecked, in order to satisfy the debt created by the short, that means that the shorts have to buy Bitcoin. So what would happen is if we start to rapidly move into those positions, then what we would see is a very rapid liquidation of a lot of those short positions, and it would happen exponentially, and that would lead to an incredible explosive sort of move on the price. Now, that would lead to a lot of profit taking. That profit taking, if it goes up that high, would most likely lead to a cascade back down into altcoins. How do I know that happens? Well, come back over here and remember, Bitcoin did its move back here. This was January right here. Then we dipped down. And then what happened? Then Bitcoin went out of its mind all the way through March. And then what happened to the rest of the market? Ethereum went out of its mind through March. What else happened? API 3 went out of its mind all the way through March. As you go down the list here, you'll start to find the same thing happening everywhere. XRP didn't exactly go out of its mind, but it did go up to 75 cents. And that's good enough for a 50-cent move. So, but dog with hat, same thing, just goes out of its mind all the way up here. So that's what we're looking to see happen again. That's what could be on tap if we, if we have this next breakout. Aptos, same thing. Arrow, same thing. Aave, same thing. You're looking at and by the way, you're just looking at the February to March explosive move here. So when we get that explosive move, everything's going to get explosive. And the question is one of, if you look at Bitcoin over here, Bitcoin came up and then it consolidated in that range for a long period of time. And it's creating this big, long channel right there. Now, the rest of the market, by the way, did not do that nearly as well. As you can see right here, that structure, that the structure that we're looking at on Bitcoin, which was like this and like this, broke down immediately. And we spent a lot of time down here on Ethereum on some lower levels. So the strength of the rest of the market, not nearly as good as what it is in Bitcoin right now. So, there will be an explosive move on alts. We're just not really there yet, if you will. So watch for this fear and greed index to make some changes. And when it starts to cook, look, it'll start to cook. But again, I do think that we might have that moment right now where we have a little bit of a come down. Now, here's the thing. If it's expected, what I'm telling you right now is the obvious move, and it's expected. There is a chance that you'll never see it come down. We could just see the explosive move happen. It's time. But when we know now that $16 billion or $10 billion or whatever billion of dollars FTX is about to release into the market is coming, then here's the question. Do we want those people layered in on top of us? Or do we want to wait for them to start buying? And do we want to create a dip for them to buy? That's stupid. So what I would expect is we're probably going to see that immediate dip, that immediate buy opportunity, and then we're going to see just prolonged sort of upward momentum over the next 4 weeks or so. When that FTX money starts to enter the arena, that's when things are going to get real crazy. Now, the good part is that's happening at the beginning of October. So this goes in line with exactly what we've been talking about, which is October is Uptober and November is a continuation of that. These are the two best months performing wise for all of cryptocurrency, not without dips, but plenty of rips. So we'll see how this plays out, of course, but I would suspect that we're probably going to see some real upward pressure start to manifest itself over the next couple of days. Also, in a final test, I think this is a final test. Oh, and by the way, there was one more piece to this. Yeah, there it is. All right, so Ripple created 1,000 RLUSD tokens, and they just burned 470 of them, which means that they're getting into a position now in which they're in potentially the final stages of testing. What they're going to have to do now is remint new tokens to make sure that the minting process, and that is to say, when you buy RLUSDT, a stablecoin, when you buy the stablecoin, it gets minted, and centralized exchanges will have a circulating supply if they are going to have a circulating supply. So this testing will start to happen very, very rapidly and very, very quickly, because I think they're ready to get there and they're ready to get it launched out. But this 470 burn is so that they can remint another 470 and make sure that they're stuck with the peg. So in a recent update, Ripple has executed the burning of 470 RLUSD after minting over 1,000. This burn occurred through 4 distinct transactions, with 2 burns of 115 and 2 of 120 taking place in the treasury. These activities are part of a continuous testing phase for its new stablecoin project in private beta. Since August of 2024, they've been rigorously testing. The company's minted multiple batches, most recently 1.35 million RLUSD. These tokens were also minted in other small tranches, including batches of 500 issued on October 6. While the XRP company has actively developed RLUSD, it remains cautious. The company informed the XRP community that the stablecoin is still under testing, and that it would not be publicly available until regulatory approvals are obtained and the product is fully launched. So they think that that's going to happen very, very soon. Now, does the appeal that just happened make this prohibitive and that this is going to be an ongoing process? Well, the answer to that, the simplest answer to that, is maybe. I don't know that the SEC will forego any sort of approval, because this is a different product. And look, Ripple Labs is not prevented from doing business in the United States. They're just going to pay a penalty. So I would think that the SEC would have an obligation, or the CFTC, I suppose, would have an obligation for approval as soon as possible, using whatever methods they already currently use. So I don't think that this is going to mess with it any, but I think it's going to be interesting to see how long it actually takes. Also, this is the big one of the day, and this one is this was kind of alarming, if you will. So the crypto.com just received a Wells notice, and in response, they have filed a lawsuit against the SEC. This is getting interesting quickly. And by the way, let me just take another victory lap and tell you that the reason that crypto.com is being sued is because I can take my crow, I can give them my crow, I can liquid stake my crow, and I can earn yield off of my crow. And I'm sure that the SEC does not like that, because that's usually what the issue is with the SEC. So, the SEC announced the legal action and stated that it was a necessary step to protect the future. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me go back here and get to the Wells notice. But here's what's happened. Um, uh, the SEC has filed a Wells notice, and then crypto.com has announced that, let's pull this up, it has filed a lawsuit against the SEC to protect the future of crypto in the US. Today, Crypto.com has filed suit against the SEC. We are doing so to protect the future of the crypto industry, joining a series of our peers who are actively defending themselves and taking action against a misguided federal agency acting beyond its authorization under the law. Our decision to sue the SEC follows our receipt of a Wells notice from the commission staff, illustrating that the SEC's unauthorized and unjust regulation by enforcement campaign continues despite bipartisan indications that the next administration will take a more constructive and effective approach to advancing crypto for the US. For now, improper SEC enforcement actions are part of the process of operating a legitimate and licensed crypto business in the US. And basically what they're saying is, if you want to do business in the US, then you have to be prepared for the federal government to give you a shakedown, which is wild. But specifically, our lawsuit contends that the SEC has unilaterally expanded its jurisdiction beyond statutory limits, and separately, that the SEC has established an unlawful rule that trades in nearly all crypto assets are securities transaction, no matter how they are sold, whereas identical transactions in Bitcoin and Ethereum are somehow not. And that's not what they're doing. But I mean, look, okay. This unlawful rule never went through a notice and comment period required by the Administrative Procedure Act. And furthermore, and by the way, could we at least stop for a second and remember that Gerber Gruhl has already quit the SEC immediately? This could be more indication of why. And remember, if you will, there were some people that were saying towards the end of that we're getting to the end of the month here, and that during this period of time over the month of October, you are probably going to see a lot of lawsuits from the SEC get filed. Not only are you seeing the SEC do all of these wild filings, but you're also seeing people leaving the SEC in the meantime because they've had enough of it. So interesting stuff happening here. Now, Crypto.com, this is their information, blah, 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 blah. We believe that security and compliance are the foundation of a trading mainstream. And by the way, if you go to Crypto.com, they don't trade Luna Classic. They don't trade many different tokens or coins that they previously had traded. So here's the thing. They're trying to be fully in compliance with all US laws and regulations, and that is still not enough to prevent an attack from the SEC. I will go back and say, I think it comes down to staking, as it always seems to do. And let's Cryptocom Wells. All right, so we got Crypto.com issued and boom, 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 boom. Okay, so the Wells notice just lets them know that they are considering action against them, that they haven't made a decision on what it's going to be. But let me tell you, the liquid staking platform is going to be this is all about. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The attack on Coinbase, the attack on Kraken, the attacking on Kraken, their rants on Binance, all of this comes down to, well, Binance is actually just a bunch of thieves that were like doing wild shit. But all of the rest of them, it's continued to be about staking, and it's continued to be about you earning an expectation of profit by staking your cryptocurrency with these. And by the way, it should be noted that if you stake your Ethereum in order to secure the Ethereum network, you're not creating a security. You're not. That's why Ethereum has been cleared, and that's why everything is in the clear. When you stake your Ethereum with crypto.com, you're not securing the network. They are securing the network. They are using your assets to secure that network, which means that it's going through an intermediary or third party, which means that they are then moving it into, they are creating a contract with you to manage your crypto in order for them to secure the Ethereum network, making it a security. The end. Like it's not even debatable at this point. This is exactly what is happening here, And I don't understand why none of these guys see what the end game is. Um, Again, Ethereum has its own ETF, and it has plenty of people who are staking their Ethereum to secure the network. And it's never been about that. It's been about Coinbase allowing you to stake your Ethereum and earn yield. It's been about Coinbase and Kraken and all of these other places, crypto.com, allowing you to stake and earn yield for their actions through a third party. If they're just giving you rewards, where does the money come from? That's the question, right? Well, the money comes from securing networks. So they bundle up, they take yours, they say, hey, you want to stake with us? What's up, bro? And you stake with them, and then they go and they stake through the network. When you're creating a contract, and that contract meets the requirements of the Howey test and makes it a security. And how crypto these places are not seeing that, and I think they're seeing it. That's the thing. I think that Coinbase sees it and knows it. Crypto.com sees it and knows it. Kraken.com already settled because they saw it and they knew it. It's all about the staking mechanism by which they're securing the networks using your assets to do it, thus creating a security contract. Ta-da! So if they just stop doing that, then it would stop happening. I mean, these Wells notices or these intents for legal action. I think that that's the case, and I feel like I'm probably right on it. So, Crypto.com, they got their Wells notice. So let's talk now about what is my favorite project in all of monkeys versus dogs, and that is MSI and ticker trending. So, ticker trending is coming in Q4 before Christmas, which is going to be a pretty big move. Now, you also have at this point, you've got Finance, nice to meet you, which probably means that there's going to be a listing there if they're not already listed on Finance at this point. And they have the upcoming Super X Space, which is going to be Thursday night, 2 nights from today at 10 p.m. Eastern time. And there's going to be 20 different projects, and 20 of these different projects. And you can see right here, I have no idea what any of these projects are. The amount of new cryptos out here it is just wild at this point. And by the way, I think that 1776 one is I saw something about this not that long ago. That 1776 one might be a good one when we get into the bull run phase of the market, because people are not going to be happy with the election results no matter what, on any different platform or in any different way. So, you might see an opportunity right there for you know what? Who knows what you're going to see? Don't forget, by the way. Hey, McFly, why don't you hit the like button? What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Hit the like button. Yeah, come on. So that 1776 Solana crypto right there, that might be a really, really good one. I'm not sure, but then you have the rest of these out here. And look, there's going to be a lot of integration over the next few months as you see this ticker trend thing start to take shape. And here it is right here. So when this starts to happen, when you start to see this, it's probably going to be a big deal, and it would require it will require token supply. It would require funds from other cryptos coming in order to get you to get ad space and stuff like that. Like look, it is my opinion that this is going to be something that happens at the right time, and MSI is about to explode in value, if not price, and then price will follow the value. So I would be looking for MSI to have a wild breakout at some point very, very soon. So if you haven't already, probably have a bag of that. Also, when you're getting a bag, DevvE token currently trading down a little bit on the day, but I guess it's at 28 cents right now, which is wild considering I gave it to you at 12 cents and 13 cents and 14 cents. And, I keep giving it to you at these cheap prices where it's just almost a steal. I hope that you got some. If you didn't, and you didn't believe that it was going to happen, then you're bad. But here's what we had over here. It came down into the 12 range. I told you guys this was the moment. It broke out. I said it's going to have that successful back test. It did have the successful back test. Then it broke out even further and then continued on. Now, there is a possibility because nothing has changed. And, they're unlocked. The unlocks have happened. So anybody who's going to sell has been selling, but there's this constant sort of buy pressure that's been coming in for the last little while. So you can see right here, as we hit that 786, it just got bought up and bought up and bought up every single time. And then it looks like the reversal is imminent. And then the question is, do we come back up here for another test? And then do we have a breakout? Now, it should be noted, if when we talk about that, there were partners, the partners that the DevvE has right now are real world businesses. And they're, because things are proprietary in there and they're not open like they are in crypto, that those companies don't want to reveal who the partner is or what they're doing until they're fully ready to do it, and until their quote unquote secrets have been kind of obscured. So yeah, that's going to be absolutely crazy. Bob Sickle says, and Phantom new update going to Sonic. And by the way, Phantom is up 68% in the last month. So shout out if you hold on to any FTM, because look at this thing. This thing has just been absolutely soaring right now, from a low of 36 cents all the way up to 75. That's over 100% at this point, with let's say right here. Right now it's up 86% in 30 days. So shout out if you got yourself a bag of Phantom. I told you $1.40 by the end of the year for Phantom. I don't know if we're going to make that. Starting to look. We need that banana zone thing to happen. We need to see that explosive move. Otherwise, it's gonna be real difficult to get there. But we'll see what happens. And let's keep moving on here. If you haven't already, you got to look at DevvE. Remember, this is like a 13 million market cap at this point. Let me see here. It right now is $11 million market cap. It has an guys, it has an $11 million market cap. I assure you, this thing is going to absolutely explode, and you're going to be real upset if you didn't make sure that you have yourself a nice big bag of DevvE. Also, while we're at it, don't forget MAGA. I mean, guys, I can't do any more than give it to you and tell you that you're just an idiot if you don't buy at certain levels. And by the way, one of the levels that I told you is it was going to be a gift for you at 275, right? So I gave you at 275. I said anything below 275 is going to be a gift to you, right? Well, if you were at 275, guess what? You're up 2x already when it broke out the other day, and it's going to continue on, folks, as we get closer to this election. Okay. Whether you like He Who Shall Be Nameless or not, whether you like Hosky Mabroski or whatever her name is, whatever candidate you like is irrelevant. It's the FOMO and the buildup that's going to lead to some kind of breakout, right? And the FOMO and the buildup is going to be, and look, crypto bros, they're going to close their eyes and they're going to click their heels together and they're going to wish that he wins because it's best for crypto. Early voting opens tomorrow, the 10th. Yeah. So I'm going to vote tomorrow or Thursday and get my vote out of the way. I already told you who I'm voting for, because he's the only one that I see as a pro crypto candidate. And there's no reason right now to wait. Right. Don't wait at this point to cast your vote. I'm going to get mine out. I'm going to get mine in now. So, but the other part is going to lead to a breakout. Now, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Here's the point. It doesn't matter whether he wins or she wins. It doesn't matter. Here's what matters. Crypto bros will convince themselves that he's going to win no matter what. That's going to make people pump into this coin a lot. Okay. Doesn't matter who's going to win. It matters what people think. This election isn't about the truth. It's about feelings. This election is about the feels. And this thing is going to absolutely explode. And look, I told you before, it is my opinion that this is a $1 billion project, and it's currently trading at 213 million market cap. Remember, not that long ago, it was down here. It was under 100 million market cap. And I told you guys, it was going to go to a billion. Now look, we're at 200,000 right now. It's going to go 5x from here. And we're going to see 20, I think it's like $22, $23 Trump. The price is going to be about 22, 23, something like that. So if you have not, then last chance. By the way, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm going to be right, but it got real close to a billion market cap before. Okay. So what would this look like? What I would think is what we're going to do is we're going to get into this and price exploration mode. And we're going to be doing this by this spot right here by November. So this is this, if this were to play out, like I'm just telling you, if this were to play out, then you're talking about $30. So you're talking about $1.2 billion. If it just comes up and hits the trajectory that it's been on for that period of time. So I think you're about to see banana zone to almost $30 on Trump. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? Except that I've been right about this thing since the beginning. Bet on winners. Bet on winners, by the way. It doesn't matter what you think of the guy. If you think he's a snake, guess what? The snake gets away from everything. If you think he's a great guy, guess what? The great guy gets away with everything. No matter what you think, that's the luckiest person probably on this planet right now. Okay. Nothing can hurt him. So if that's the case, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like you should have yourself a bag because you know something is going to happen. Something is getting ready to happen. Now, if you want to wait for a dip, okay, but I'm not sure there's going to be another dip. In fact, if you were to look at it right now, you could be experiencing the dippity dip of the dippity dip. No, you know what? I don't think so. Maybe you see this the impulse move kind of right here. And then we go to this spot right here. We've already hit that golden zone and got a strong buyback off of it right there. Maybe it comes back down here, but if it does, then your gift is already over. The gift is already over. Let me show you right here on the chart. So here's the impulse move right here, and then here's the top over here. So now it looks like we've already retraced back into that golden zone, or we got real close to that golden zone right there. So we could be looking at a breakout and further. If you want to be shrewd, then you can take another chance at 420. Remember, it was 420 yesterday, and we were joking about that. That was the low, and it bounced off of that to 467 right now. So still, like, guys, this thing is going to go absolutely banana zone in any moment now. Any moment now, you're going to see just an absolute breakout happen for this project. So, guys, get yourself a little bit of that magic, what do you call it? Magic Trump juice, MAGA juice. I don't know, whatever. And then don't forget the Saitama Wolfpack. Now, listen, there was a big move. We talked about this the other day. We had a test of where we are, and guess what's happening? You guessed it. We're doing the same thing that every other crypto is doing. Now, if that is the case, then guess what that means? That means Nanner Zone is getting ready to happen. Again, this is with everything, right? What did you get over here? You got a back test. What is the back test going to do? Well, if you were to let's do a all right, so boom to boom. And then if we have a successful retest and a breakout from here, then guess what? We're going to be testing that all-time high of 1 cent again any moment now as it enters its next quote-unquote banana zone. Guys, it's all playing out to perfection here. Not only that, Solana, it's going to be 170, 180, 190, $200 very, very soon. All of these pieces that didn't fit into place yet because we're waiting for that explosive growth or that explosive moment. It's about to happen. So get ready for all of this stuff to just start taking off, and that includes Saitama on Solana. If you haven't already, look, $500, $300, $200, whatever it is, put it in right now. While you're doing it, make sure that you put it in for DevvE because something's going to happen right there. While you're doing that, MSI, because something's going to happen right there. And I don't have it pulled up right now because I ran out of all of the time in the world because apparently I manage my time so poorly. But remember, CC, she's out here apparently balancing on yoga beams. Like, who does that? Like, I can't do that. That's ridiculous. But Coins Chick Coin on Sol. They just had one of those spaces, so I would suggest go listen to that and check it out, listen to it. But look, it's gonna end up being it's gonna end up being a big move. So and right now, this it stands to reason here. What are you looking at? You're looking at about $130,000 market cap. You're looking at, and by the way, this is the worst of the breakdowns that you can get out of it. Like when you start to look at it and you start to zoom out, it's not actually breaking down, right? It's just breaking up. And this thing eventually at some point just takes off with the rest of the market. And by the way, here's the best part. The best part to the Coins Chick coin is this. It comes back to that pairing. If that pairing for Solana goes out of its mind, just you holding some of this makes it a nice and fantastic sort of gain. Remember, when it was at its all-time high not that long ago, Solana was, what's the date that it had its all-time high over here? September 20th. So on September 20th, Solana was trading at around 160. So if you just consider that we're probably going to have a big move, Solana at 144 right now. If Solana takes off and actually does what I expect it's going to do, which is probably run like crazy to 200 real soon, if that really happens, how high does CC go? Like, that's the question. So, it's absolutely wild. Where is our freedom of speech when you can't even say Trump without fear of being retaliated against YouTube? Well, YouTube is not free speech. We're not look, guys. We have to use. I want you guys to use the functioning part of your brains, not the well, I'm linking because it sucks, smell good, or whatever dumb reason you have for blind support. I don't care what the reason is. YouTube and Google are private entities. If you say something they don't like, they can do whatever they want. And you are still going to have all of the freedoms afforded you by the First Amendment. The First Amendment grants you the right to complain in public about your problems with whatever your problems are. That does not give you the right to go onto a social media platform and say whatever you want about whomever it is that you want. The sole exception to that, or at least some of the sole exceptions to that, were Telegram. Now, if you say that Twitter is one of those places too, well, no, it's not, because you can't say the N word without getting busted. You can't say some things without being busted. And Elon shows you examples of where he's banning people. It's as close to a freest sort of speech platform, but it's also a private business. Elon can decide that for himself because he owns it. Well, somebody owns Google. Investors own Google and YouTube and Facebook and Meta, whatever you call the whole thing. You say what they allow you to say on that platform, and it doesn't affect your First Amendment right. Your First Amendment doesn't mean you can say whatever the hell you want on somebody else's private platform. You can't walk into your job and you can't say, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. And you can't just repeat that all day long because the company has the right to they can silence your ability to do that by getting rid of you. You're not entitled to let people know what you think constantly. In your free time, in public forums, in public spaces, you're allowed to do that. That's how it works. That's what freedom of speech is. Now, the fact that Elon has that extra chromosome that makes him an idiot, that makes him think that that's what it's all about, it's not. Now, it is my opinion that something like X should be a platform if he chooses. Now, if he's not, then I would suspect that maybe Mark Zuckerberg or some of these other guys would need to step up and do that because it's good for overall good for overall space, but that's not you don't have a right to go onto a private platform and say whatever you want to say unless the people on that private platform say you can say whatever you want to say. And by the way, when you say come on man, you know it's pure censorship. Of course it is. They're allowed to do that. It's their company. They can do what they want with that company. You cannot enforce your opinion on their freedom of speech is to not that this is their freedom of speech. That private company on their platform, which is their property, is able to assert their free speech. You don't get to assert your free speech on them. You don't get to force them to do it. That's not freedom. That's not the world working the way you want it. You just want to be able to tell people you don't like them. You just want to tell people you hate them. You just want to tell people, I don't like Kamala Harris or whatever it is that you want to say. And if a private industry says, I don't want you to say that, you can't say that on their platform. The end. You don't get to say it at work. You don't get to yell fire in a theater. There are exceptions, and your First Amendment right, you can still walk outside of your house. You can still walk over to your neighbor, and you can still say to your neighbor, hey, I don't like you. Now, can you do it on their property? Well, if they tell you to get off the property, you can't. You have to do it from the street, but that's freedom. There's your freedom. Your freedom works in your ability to go to your city hall or your town hall and go tell your town hall people, I don't like what you're doing. And you can do it openly in a public space because that's what it's for. It's not a private industry, but you're not allowed to go into your private industries and tell your private industries how they should conduct their business. If you want to do that, become an investor, become the majority stockholder, and then find a way to change the rules and regulations by which it operates. And you can do that with, however you want, however your investment dollar allows you to do that. It's a private company. Don't try to enforce private company. Don't try to take away the freedom of speech of that private company because you just want to yell like an asshole into space. That's all. It doesn't work that way, whether you like it or not. Again, you can do it on X because Elon says, yeah, go for it. Say whatever you want. He said that. He said you can do that. He didn't create a term of service that says that you can't. But if another place does, and if they medicinal misinformation, what idiot goes to social media to get their vaccination information anyway? Like what? It's just wild. It's wild. Anyway, so that's my time. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. It is wild that we don't understand freedom of speech, though. It is
Hey,
wild. McFly,
Why don't you hit the like button?
What is wrong with you? What are you doing? Hit the like button. All right, now we're going to get out of here. You guys have a good day, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon. From now until November 1st, if you make a deposit of $1,000 at Cryptonomy.finance, you will get a random bonus of between $50 and $5,000. Also, guys, if you have anything that you don't understand about Cryptonomy, then I do special research articles on this platform. So if you are interested, you can come check them out. And if you have a question about any of these projects, then there is an opportunity here for you to learn about some of the cryptocurrencies, especially Aerodrome or Carve or something like that. I've got a lot of staking going on right here. I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Tether, all coming up to be unstaked very, very shortly. So join me in this, reap the rewards like I'm reaping. And folks, don't forget, not only is Cryptonomy a robust staking platform, but it's also a venture fund. So if you want to apply, you can do that in the research section. Apply today.